A very good morning to you all. This is Block 4, Lesson Plan 2, Major Conflicts in USA. So get ready with your content book, your worksheet, notebook, and the stationery that is required. As usual, I'm going to ask you a question to start the lesson plan. Do you think that a revolution is enough to change society? A revolution involves overthrowing an existing system of government. So, the work of the revolutionaries continues even after their victory. It becomes important to establish a new system of rule that reflects their ideas. So, today we will learn about the developments in USA immediately after the American Revolution. Got it? Now, read the story, a bigger task that is given in the next slide, and answer the questions that are given next to next slide. So here is the story. I will read it for you. Henry Bingley was the assistant to the first president of the United States of America, George Washington. One night, he was working late with the president. Most people think that when the war is won, life will automatically become better. But that isn't true, said George Washington. This is just the beginning. We have fought for our independence, and now we must work to create a government that serves our problem well. For that, we must work as hard as we can for as long as we need to do. Bingley knew that a lot remained to be done. Proposals for the constitution and the form of government for the newly independent nation had to be looked over. The president was pleased that most leaders were keen of a kind of government which would give the states control over their own taxes and economy. Bingley himself was most excited that the government was to be democratic and a republic that would be ruled by an elected president rather than a king. After such a battle, non representation to finally have elected leaders would be wonderful. It had been proposed that the government should be divided into three branches: the Congress, the legislative body, the executive, headed by the president, and the judiciary. Each section would check the power of the other so that there was no misuse of authority. Bingley knew that the coming years would be hard, but he believed that the government they were trying to create would uphold the values of the revolution for which they had fought so hard. Now, based on the story, the question is what needs to be done after winning the War of Independence? And what kind of government is being planned for in the newly independent nation? You can read the section also. The story has been read for you. You can write down the answers. Come back. We will discuss few more questions. I hope you had done it. Now tell me, where did Henry work? Henry worked as the assistant to George Washington, the president of the newly independent USA. What did the president say needs to be done after winning the war? The president says that winning the war is just the beginning and that they need to work hard to set up a government that will serve the people and reflect the revolutionary ideals. What kind of government is being planned for? They are thinking of a government whose leaders will be elected by the people. Moreover, they are planning to divide the government into three branches, each of which will check the power of other to prevent the misuse of authority. Now, why did newly independent nation need a constitution? The newly independent nation needed a constitution that would reflect the revolutionary ideals and lay the basis for a government that would work for the welfare of the people. What were the main concerns in writing the constitution in the immediate aftermath of American Revolution? The main concern in the immediate period after the American Revolution was that the Constitution should reflect the revolutionary ideals of liberty, equality, and freedom, and give greater rights and freedom to citizens. What were the features of the new government? The new government was to be based on democratic principles where leaders would be elected by the people. It was to be a federal government where the states would control their own economy and taxation. It was to be a republic government by an elected president rather than ruled by a king or queen. Do you think the ideals of American Revolution helped the Indian freedom struggle in any way? The American Revolution was based on the ideas of liberty, equality, and freedom. These ideas gave inspiration to many other freedom struggles that came after it, such as Indian freedom struggle. Do you think the American Constitution influenced the Indian Constitution? The makers of the Indian Constitution were inspired to form a government where all people could participate in decision making and where they were considered equal. Okay, so I think our Indian Constitution was influenced by American Constitution, as it has also the three branches, and it keep check on the authorities. After listening this, please read the section or read the lesson plan one more time. Then complete your S2 in workbook and practice question 4 to 6 and related additional questions in notebook. Thank you and have a nice day.